I'm Miranda, and I'm so excited to be here today to talk to all of you about something I'm very passionate about. You know, if I'm honest, it did take some narrowing down because I'm passionate about a lot of things. I could stand up here today and talk to you all about my admiration for the cat species. I mean, who doesn't like cats? Even if you say you don't like cats, you kind of do. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have said this speech in front of my cats, and not once have they walked away. Maybe they fell asleep, but that doesn't matter. I could talk about John Travolta's phenomenal performance in the movie Hairspray, because just like cats, even if you say you don't like that movie, you kind of do. I could even talk about the importance of wearing deodorant, because not only is it disgusting when you don't wear deodorant, but it's also very unfortunate for the people around you. But no, I'm not here today to talk to you all about body odor. I'm actually here to talk to you about something more important than that, and that's fears. We all have them, but how often do we as humans deliberately do something that scares us just to push ourselves to the limit? As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, do one thing every day that scares you, and that's exactly what I have been doing for the past 8 months, and now I get to share my journey with you. I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can do to conquer your fears and reach your goals. Now, before we get started, you may be wondering why this and why now? Why can't I hide from the things that make me uncomfortable? And the answer to this question is simple. If you never make yourself uncomfortable and leave your comfort zone, you will never achieve anything. Think of yourself in preschool. You're sitting at your desk with your crayon or your pencil in your hand, and you just can't write your name. There's too many letters, it's too complicated, and you just can't do it. But now, when you write your name, you don't even have to think about it. And that's because at such a young age, you pushed yourself out of your teeny tiny comfort zone, and now you don't even have to think about it. There is a bigger and better thing hiding behind the door to your future that is locked by fears. And once you unlock that door, the outcome is well worth the feeling of being uncomfortable. In order for you to conquer your fears, I want you to stop saying what if and start saying why not. I feel that we are all captivated by the fears. What if this happens, or what if that happens? What if I don't get the job, or what if I do fail the test? But what if that scary, seemingly bad thing isn't as bad as we perceive it to be? We would never try unless we know. And if you ask me, life is too short to not know. Take last summer, for example. I was 15 years old, and I barely had any experience with babysitting at all. But I get a call on the phone from a woman who wants me to babysit her kids 3 days a week for 8 hours a day. Now, that's not 1 kid or 2 kids, but 3 kids. And to be honest, I didn't really want to do it. And I could have stayed in my room all summer and said no, but instead, I said why not, and I did it. I showed up to the house not knowing if the parents were going to be evil, or if the kids were going to hate me, or if they were going to try to murder me, but I did it anyways. And because of this, that was one of the best decisions I had made all summer, and I learned so much about myself, but I never would have known unless I said why not. The first step to learning to say why not is to shake hands with your fears. In fact, I want all of you right now to turn to the person next to you and shake their hand. You may think I'm kidding, but go ahead, do it. See, that wasn't so bad. Even if the person's hand next to you was sweaty, you survived. And that's the thing with fears. Before we actually do the thing that scares us, it seems a lot worse than after we actually do it. You need to make your fears your friends, and that's what I've done. I started doing things that scared me that were fun for me. I went to a pet store and I touched weird exotic animals, and I started skateboarding. I didn't know if I was gonna break my leg, but I did it anyways. And I also ran a 5K leg of Lauren's marathon, and I'm not an athlete. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I did it. It's fair to say that we all have fears. Some of darkness, some of spiders, and some of shaking the hand of the person next to us. But if we learn to shake hands with our fears, then they can't get in our way. The second step is to not get too comfortable with being in your comfort zone. As Neil Donald Walsh once said, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and I believe that to be true. If you never leave your comfort zone, how do you expect to achieve anything? We need to start by taking baby steps out of our comfort zone, because once we do that, it makes it a lot easier once it's time to make those big leaps. And boy, can I tell you, good things come out of big leaps. Just like we need to take baby steps out of our comfort zone, we need to break down our fears into smaller thoughts that we can handle. Take this speech, for example. I don't consider myself a public speaker, and this isn't something I'm very comfortable doing. But I thought to myself, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, so I can mess up, I can pee my pants, or my skirt, you can all throw tomatoes at me, and I could run off crying. But then what? I would have to go to the bathroom and clean myself up, and then I would probably have to redo my speech. But the bright side to this is I would have practice this time. I wouldn't mess up, I wouldn't pee my skirt, and you guys wouldn't laugh at me. The third and most important step is to let it go. And no, by that I don't mean run away to a mountain, build an ice castle while singing a music number like in the Disney movie Frozen. I mean to accept the fact that once we leave our comfort zone, we can't control the things that are going to happen, and that's okay. Even though you can't control what will happen, doesn't mean that things will go wrong. Think of yourself on the first day of kindergarten. You do not want to go. You would rather stay at home and watch cartoons all day, but your mom drags you in on her leg, and you have to go inside. Once she finally tiptoes away, and by the time she comes back at 3 o'clock, you don't want to leave. You had the best day of your life, and you cannot wait till tomorrow because you had fun. Even though you didn't want to go, doesn't mean that things went wrong. Doing one thing every day that scares you for 8 months sounds crazy, right? That's what I thought going into this, but I certainly didn't let that stop me. Going into this, my goal was to stop letting my fears get in the way of how I want to run my life. I started doing cartwheels in the snow, handing stickers to strangers in the hallways, and wearing weird t-shirts to school because I simply thought, why not? And because of this, I was surprised at how happier my life became. It is such a liberating feeling to know that I can and will do anything that I want to, and I want to share that experience with you. Now that we know how to conquer our fears, it's time to reach your goals. You can no longer use fears as an excuse. You can finally start that project you've been wanting to work on, or try that new hobby that you doubted you ever could do, or even say hi to that person that you secretly think is dreamy. I know you all have someone in mind. But now that we know how to conquer our fears, there's nothing in our way. So next time you think you can't do something, don't say what if, say why not. Thank you.